Let's start with a paradox. Product marketing becomes useless the moment you ask it to fix everything. Seriously, the more you broaden its scope, the more you ask of it, the less value it actually delivers. You see, its real power isn't in its reach, but in its constraint.
So, the crucial point here is that for product marketing to actually work, its scope has to be deliberately and frankly rigorously limited. And that's exactly what this explainer is about, drawing that boundary, defining the discipline that makes the function powerful. So let's get into it.
Okay, first up, boundaries create focus. And let's just get one thing straight right away. When I talk about boundaries, I am not talking about bureaucracy. These lines aren't there to restrict your product marketing team. No, they exist to force the entire organization to focus on solving the right problems at the right time. And the difference here is night and day. Without boundaries, you get constant relitigation of decisions that should have been final. This leads to incredibly high team churn, and product marketing just becomes this chaotic pressure valve for every piece of unresolved strategy. But with boundaries, decisions get made and they stick. Churn goes way down, and the function finally gets to operate as a focused, effective discipline.
This all boils down to one core principle, and it's this. The effectiveness of your product marketing team is directly proportional to its level of constraint. The tighter you make the focus, the greater the impact will be. It's really that simple. So what does that focus actually look like in practice? Let's get really specific about what product marketing is responsible for. And this is the key, we're only talking about what happens after the core strategic decisions have been made and locked in.
The remit is crystal clear, and it is entirely downstream. This means it acts on decisions that are already settled further up the food chain. So product marketing works on market-facing language, but only after decisions are made. It frames the value, but without changing the core meaning. It drives consistency across every single go-to-market surface. It's responsible for reducing what we call semantic drift, making sure we're all using the same words to mean the same thing. At its core, the job is about precision, not invention.
And this is the principle that governs all of those activities. Product marketing owns the expression of your strategy, not the intent behind it. Think about that for a second. It's responsible for how the company's truth is carried to the market, not for defining what that truth is in the first place.
And that brings us to the sharpest part of this whole discussion, where the boundary is actually enforced. We have to be just as explicit about what product marketing must refuse to touch. This is where the discipline really truly matters.
Your product marketing team must never, ever be tasked with fixing fundamental upstream problems. I'm talking about things like unclear demand signals from the market, internal disagreement on who your ideal customer profile even is, a go-to-market motion that's just plain wrong, conflicting narratives coming down from leadership, or just fundamental ambiguity about what the product is. Let's be very, very clear. These are not messaging problems. They are strategy problems.
So you have to ask yourself a critical question. When you see your product marketing team constantly rewriting language, constantly spinning their wheels, are they actually refining the message, or are they being forced to compensate for a much deeper issue?
And compensation is a really dangerous trap. It's the act of trying to hide unfinished, messy strategic decisions with a fresh coat of linguistic paint. If you find yourself changing your core messaging every single quarter, that's a massive red flag that the problem isn't the words. It's the unresolved strategy that's sitting right underneath them.
This leads us to probably the most important reframe in this entire discussion. When you see chaos, churn, and thrash inside your product marketing function, it is not a signal of their failure. It's actually a valuable diagnostic tool for you.
Let's be blunt. Constant repositioning is not agility. That churn in language, that endless wordsmithing, is an observable symptom of upstream strategic instability. It's a direct signal that a fundamental decision, somewhere higher up the chain, is still broken or unsettled.
So when you see this chaos, you have to resist your first instinct. Resist asking the wrong question, which is almost always, what should product marketing be doing better? Instead, you must ask the right question. What core decision is still unsettled here? That one shift changes everything. It moves the focus from blaming a downstream function to addressing the root cause. And all of this brings us to the core operating principle of a truly disciplined product marketing function. To be effective, to maintain its focus and add real value, the team must be empowered to say no far more often than it says yes. So, to summarize it all, what is product marketing touch?
It touches the expression of your strategy, the framing of your value, the consistency of your message across all channels, and the precision of your language.
And, just as importantly, what must it refuse to touch? It must refuse to paper over unclear demand, internal fights over the ICP, a broken go-to-market motion, and any ambiguity around the product itself. Its power comes directly from this refusal, not from its reach.
By enforcing this boundary, you turn product marketing into the disciplined, high-impact function it was always meant to be. Next time, we're going to build on this and look at the act of positioning, not as a creative exercise, but as the ultimate act of strategic constraint.